This audio recording was classified for decades, not because of what it says, but because of what it proves. You were never meant to hear it. The tape was discovered inside a sealed archive box. No label, no date, just a warning written by hand. Do not duplicate. At first, the recording sounds normal. Background noise, static, breathing. Then a voice begins to speak, not loudly, not clearly, but intentionally. The content was never officially explained, but internal notes reveal concern, not about the voice, but about who was listening. The last seconds of the tape are silent, no static, no noise, only one sentence appears in the file summary. Playback terminated by request. Some records were hidden to protect the truth. Others were hidden to protect us from it. For decades, it sat on a shelf, gathering dust, a forgotten ghost in a machine of secrets. Think about the sheer number of classified documents generated every single day. Millions of pages, petabytes of data, all sealed away from public view. Most of these are mundane, procedural, the boring nuts and bolts of bureaucracy. But some are different. This tape was one of them. It didn't contain troop movements or state secrets. It held something far more unsettling. When the archivist first found the box, it was an anomaly. In a library of meticulously catalogued information, this box was a void. It had no reference number, no departmental origin. Just that stark, hand-scrawled warning, do not duplicate. Curiosity, of course, is a powerful force, especially for someone whose job is to uncover the past. The seal was broken, the box opened, and inside lay a single, standard-issue reel-to-reel tape. Old, but not ancient. Maybe from the 70s or early 80s. The archivist, let's call him Miller, took it to a listening station. He threaded the tape, put on the headphones, and pressed play. The first few minutes were exactly what you'd expect from an old analog recording. A low hum, the gentle hiss of magnetic tape, the occasional pop and crackle. Miller was about to dismiss it as a blank or a damaged recording. Then he heard it, breathing, slow, rhythmic. A person was there, on the other end of this recording, decades ago. The sound was incredibly intimate, as if the microphone was just inches from their face. Then the voice started. It wasn't a speech, not a conversation. It was a soft murmur, almost a whisper. The words were indistinct, garbled by the low fidelity of the recording. Miller strained to understand, adjusting the volume, trying to filter out the noise. He could catch a word here and there, but nothing coherent. It sounded like someone thinking aloud, their thoughts spilling out in a stream of consciousness. But the tone was what was so disturbing. It was calm, measured, yet held an undercurrent of something profound. Not fear, not anger, something else, something ancient. He rewound the tape, listening again and again. Each time, the voice seemed to say something different. The words shifted, the meaning elusive, like trying to grasp smoke. It was then he noticed something truly bizarre. The background static wasn't random. It seemed to pulse, to shift in response to the spoken words, almost as if it were part of the communication. This wasn't just a recording of a voice. It was a recording of an event, an interaction. Days turned into weeks. Miller became obsessed. He used digital software to clean up the audio, trying to isolate the voice. The clearer it became, the less sense it made. The language wasn't one he recognized. It had phonetic elements from several ancient languages, but it followed no known grammatical structure. It was utterly alien. Frustrated, he started digging into the archives, looking for any mention of this mystery box, any project that might explain it. He found nothing. It was a digital dead end. The box, officially, did not exist. But Miller was a good archivist. He knew the paper trails, the unofficial channels, the notes scribbled in margins. And in the forgotten personnel file of a long-retired security officer, he found a clue. A single-page memo, heavily redacted. It spoke of a listening project, an experiment in non-standard signal acquisition. It didn't mention a tape, but it mentioned a specific room in a specific sub-basement that was decommissioned the same year the tape was likely made. The memo was a bombshell. The project wasn't about broadcasting a signal. It was about receiving one. They weren't talking to someone. They were listening. The memo expressed deep concern, not about the signal itself, but about the biofeedback in the listening personnel. The people who were listening were being affected by it. Their brain waves were synchronizing with the static. Their heart rates were matching the rhythm of the disembodied breathing on the tape. The project was deemed too dangerous and was abruptly terminated. All materials were ordered to be sealed and left without a record. This wasn't a failure of an experiment. It was a deliberate, panicked cover-up. They had stumbled upon something they could not control and could not understand. They had listened in on a conversation not meant for human ears. And the voice wasn't speaking to them. It was speaking to something else. The static, the background noise, was the other side of the conversation. Miller finally understood the warning. Do not duplicate. It wasn't to protect the secret. It was to contain the signal. The recording itself was a carrier. To listen was to open a door. And they had no idea what was on the other side. He looked at the tape player, the reels still slowly turning. The voice was still whispering its impossible language through his headphones. And then he realized the most terrifying part. The last few seconds of the tape. After the voice stops, the static and the breathing stop too. Absolute, perfect silence, digital silence, the kind that doesn't exist on an analog tape. It's the silence of a file being cut short. And then he remembered the summary will be read in that hidden memo. Playback terminated by request. Whose request? The listeners? The project leads? Or was the request coming from the voice on the tape? That's the question that keeps the archivists who know this story awake at night. Some records are hidden to protect the truth. Others are hidden to protect us from it. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It just shows you the size of your cage. What we think of as reality is just a thin veil. And sometimes, if you listen closely enough to the static, you can hear the things that are moving just on the other side. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more dives into the unknown.